G'day folks, Paul from AOPG. I have some news. In the coming weeks I'm going to be building a videography shed slash man cave slash studio slash spare bedroom, basically my space to do my things. And talking cave slash studio that I'm going to build from scratch. I won't be doing it all in one go. In point of fact, I'll be doing it with whatever monies I have left at the end of every pay period. Loose change, not dedicating a cent to it, because I'm leaving all of our funds fairly liquid, with the primary focus that we may have to move, we may have to relocate, and that means paying a security deposit or bond in another place and moving costs, and yeah, you get the idea. The loose change you have left at the end of each pay period, maybe the cost of a packet of chips even, or a little bit more, maybe the cost of a new hammer or some nails, just a little bit each time. It's going to be completely modular and transportable. This is our car, so when I say move it, I mean literally be able to take it apart, pack it up into the car and move it. Now, I know it's a bit ambitious. I guarantee it all won't fit in one load, but the idea being that I'm doing a project that's replicable by anyone, anywhere just about. We don't have a hardware store in our town, so we can't just ring up for materials and have them sent out. Not everyone does. We don't have a trailer, or if we did, we don't have a tow ball to put a trailer on our car. So it'll be built with materials that can fit in the car. I'm turning you around again so you can have a look at our area. Something different to look at. Nah, look this way a bit. So, as I said, essentially I have the idea of Lego in mind. I'm going to build it out of blocks or pieces that fasten together, and then if you need to move it or want to move it, just take it apart again, reassemble it wherever you move it to. Okay, so size, back to here. Size-wise, sorry for the confusion of you moving around. I just thought you'd like to see something different than my old ugly bug and the same thing in the background the whole time. But off the top of my head now, roughly 4 metres by 3 metres size. Now, I have to think about my geographic location. It gets bloody hot here in summer. I have lawn mowers and tractors and all kinds of things going on around me. I want to block out the sound of coming into this joint. I don't want to be disturbed by the outside world when I'm doing my recordings or whatever like that. I don't want the sound of chainsaws and lawn mowers and rotary hose and whatever's going on out in the rest of the world coming into my studio, into my space. So it's going to have a certain soundproofing content. So where do I go from here? Well, I'm thinking about what I'm saying. I haven't rehearsed this. This is me, you know. I'm doing this on the fly. So, all right. I aim to do it on a budget because I need to buy tools, and I don't need these tools as part of my day job. I'm going to be buying budget tools, and I don't mean the cheapest. I just mean budget-friendly tools. So things that are available on mail order from places such as eBay or the hardware stores. You know, whatever I'm doing, you should be able to find the same or something similar, and hopefully you'll learn by my mistakes. I'll own up to them, I'll admit them when I make them, so that you guys could learn. Yeah. As far as learning and teaching goes, I've got to say this up front. I'm not the best teacher for this. Yeah, I have some skills that I've developed in my working life, because I used to be a landscaper gardener. I'm now retired. But in all honesty, the extent of my woodworking, carpentry, metalworking, building, construction, etc. skills extends to the fact that I did woodwork and metalwork in Year 7 at high school. That's it. Yeah, as I said, I have developed some skills beyond school as part of my working life, but for all intents and purposes, let's assume I have nothing and I know nothing, and if whatever I did know to be at least 20 years out of date because I no longer work in those industries. And let's just go from there. Just before we get on to what tools I've bought to start this project with, we'd best talk about the site. I'll spend 10 or 15 seconds just showing you the site. We're in our backyard now, and just to refresh your memory of what it's like, I'll quickly pan around. We get an enormous amount of sunlight here, and the videography studio will be going just there. So now I'm back out the front of the camera, you can see me. This here originally, when we first moved into this place 8 years ago, was a powered pergola, but it had rotted timbers and started to collapse, and even had a little bit of a fire in the electrics at one stage. So the landlords, the owners, thought rather than replace it, they'd just cut it down. And I felt a little bit hard about that because we pay pretty high rent for this area here because it's got a double block of land and because it had this wonderful powered pergola and things like that. Some of the quality of the property was lost, but the rent didn't go down, it actually went up. A little later on they raised it. So just there is where I'm going to build this videography studio. Now, as I said, we've got an abundance of sun in our area. Every year we go into the 40s, not consistently. Normally it's in the high 30s or mid 30s, but in recent years, perhaps for the past 3 or 4 years, we have gone into the 50-degree temperature range, 50 plus, at least once or twice every year. So that's it. Now, because you get an abundance of sunlight, after this is built, I intend to put solar panels on the roof. That's a project for further down the track, but that's the ultimate goal or aim is to build my place, my space, my man shed, my videography studio, etc. like that. And then because the landlords haven't been, well, they have been fairly hesitant and not interested in putting solar panels on this place, I'm going to put my own solar panels on the shed and take them with me wherever I go. From a hardware store chain in Australia, by mail order, I bought 5 power tools for $249. They're not the best quality. They're by far not the worst quality either. And they're made in the People's Republic of China. I got that from Mitre 10, which is an Australian hardware store chain. It was mail order. But the thing about this is it's meant to be replicable. Meant to be a replicable project by anyone, anywhere. So you could go to eBay, you could go to Amazon, you could go to a lot of places on the internet and you would get something similar. I'm happy with that price. It works out to be less than $50 per power tool. So, you know, can't argue with that. And what do you get for that $50? Well, first off, I I got a detail sander and I've put it in a plastic bag. It didn't come in this bag, it came in a box of course, but I've put it in this bag to keep the Velcro looms from attracting dust and fluff and that kind of thing. 2 rechargeable 18 volt lithium tech batteries. You get 1 recharger for it. Everything runs off these. They're included with the kit. So for $249 really you get 5 power tools plus 2 rechargeable batteries and a recharger. I can't complain at that. Impact driver, so you can do up bolts, undo bolts, do up screws, undo screws, etc. like that. Hopefully without stripping out the heads. That's what it's designed for. Impact driver. Cordless drill. It has the torque settings and of course has forward reverse. It has a keyless chuck. Yeah, it's a drill. It drills. Next tool, torch. And I thought I wouldn't use this really. I thought this was the only letdown in the box. I thought, why would you use a torch? It's not really a power tool, but after getting it, yeah, I've fallen in love with it. And I use this a lot. And not just for this project, but basically it is a torch. Yep, I use that as a torch for looking around the yard for the pets at night or for something going dark, and yeah, it's for changing the car tyre at night. It's got a whole lot of uses. It's a torch. It's got an adjustable head. It's a work light, right? But it is very bright and it is surprisingly useful. Finally, we have the circular saw. Now the circular saw does have another attachment which I haven't put on yet, which is a cutting guide so that you can make a cut parallel to the edge of the piece of timber you're working on. Okay. The only negative on this saw that I can find, and bearing in mind the price point, it isn't a negative at all, really, considering the price. It has a guard. You always have a guard circular saw. This one's plastic, not metal. That's the only thing that I can see as a sign of cheap quality. I mean, apart from that, it has everything else you want. As I said, it has that guide for cutting parallel cut to the edge of the piece of the wood. You can adjust the angle of the cut like that. I mean, it's a circular saw like any other saw. I'm happy. So, those are the tools that I'm getting to start the project. Also, actually, I think about it. Hang on, I'll be back. There were 2 others. I also bought a Stanley hammer, $25 or something like that from memory was the price. I'll have all the details at the end of the project. And a tape measure with as easy a read to numbers as I could find. Also about $25. And I actually saved for these by saving $40 a fortnight. And then I chucked in a little bit when I got near the mark, so it hasn't broken the bank so far. And I have been planning on doing this for some time. So I'll put all this together. Right, call that $300. And that's a start. It's not a video. It's a stuff that I
those things, but eventually I'll get it.